Yeah, Olus. I do speak a little bit Greek. Give a small introduction. Why do I speak Greek? I married a Greek woman at the island of Hydra a couple of years ago. Was that? Thank you. Those are my Greek friends. So it's a very big honor, big pleasure to be with you guys and to speak for a Greek audience. Happy to share my insights, happy to share my experience from 25 years, almost 25 years in digital transformation, working with all kinds of digital technologies, what the other Michailis just explained. And I have very small minutes to share my insights with you. The title of my presentation is How Can You Turn Disruption, Digital Disruption, into Growth. It's about a Greek story about Goliath versus David. I know that a lot of you have small business, family business, small medium enterprises. I do work a lot for the large enterprises. Those are the Goliaths. And they're very, very afraid of the Davids. And they should be. The Davids are the startups. The startups have found a way to disrupt the big ones, to disrupt the Goliaths. So I work a lot with the Goliaths, helping them to battle against the Davids. Sometimes they lose. So I have a couple of cases actually where I experienced that a big North American company actually went bankrupt because they were disrupted by digital technology. So it's serious business. But there's always a very serious opportunity for every one of you. So I try to make it an inspiring 30 minutes to show you what you can do in order to beat Goliath, to kick their ass. I don't know how that's going to be translated in Greek. But it's, I hope it brings a message to most of you that there is a lot of opportunity to win in digital space. So I would like to start with a movie which I think is very interesting for any of you. It's about how a simple bakery can transform themselves into a digital company. So look at it, because it might apply very well also to your own situation. I hope it's going to work, because now it comes down to the technology. No. Okay, well, here you go. Digital technology is letting me down. Okay. Well, it's a good reason tomorrow to come to my second masterclass. I gave one this morning, and I can show you the video over there. It's actually a story about a bakery which is about to go out of business. He has to deal with a new type of consumers which run into all kind of allergies, and everyone wants to have gluten-free products. And he finds out in order to serve that new customer, he needs to transform digitally. And actually he's using 10 success factors, which is for every one of you who is running a business or who is in business and you want to win in digital. So the first one is about mobile. Up till now, so when the iPhone came out in 2007, it was presented by Steve Jobs to the world, and I had the iPhone in my hand. I was already for 10 years in digital transformation with web, especially with banking. So I established internet banking for a lot of banks. And as soon as I got the mobile, I was okay, mobile banking is going to be it. I went with a prototype to banks and I said like, okay, this is a mobile banking app and you should go mobile. They all laughed at me and see what Apple has done, right? The mobile world has been disrupted considerably. Everything was in Nokia's hand. They had the research, they had the brand, they had the customers, everything. Steve Jobs came with the iPhone and he blew everything away. It's not only about the iPhone, it's also about the mobile applications and the fact that he turned around Apple into a platform organization, which is another success factor in the top. So everyone 10, which I come to you in a bit. What is important to understand is how in digital things have been shifted. So first you had the web, and a lot of those large organizations, they invested millions and millions and millions in dollars in becoming online. And they did it, they have expertise, they have capabilities, and then came Steve Jobs. So what happened with web was basically you were able to provide a corporate brochure, and after it came e-commerce, you were able to buy those goods and services from a website, and you came into transaction. Mobile, actually, it works out another way, a different direction. It starts with interaction. Everyone has a mobile phone, anytime, anywhere. You can interact with the brands, with the businesses you would like to interact with. There are no push mechanisms. They try to pull you in a certain kind of way, and I will explain a couple of tricks, which you can do with mobile. The problem is for large organizations is that they invested these millions of dollars in a web infrastructure, in capability, in new sorts of tools and techniques with Google, with keywords, with search engine optimization. And again, when Steve Jobs came with his mobile phone, a lot of people and a lot of senior managers I work with, they don't know, search doesn't work on mobile. Now it works a little bit better because Google pays billions of dollars to Google in order to have the search engine on the mobile phones. It's actually one of the biggest portion of revenues Apple is earning. Another reason why mobile is so important is because everyone is obviously on it, but also it has parallels though with establishing a web presence as a business. Web, as I mentioned, initially was a corporate brochure giving information to people online about business. Then it turned into e-commerce. What a lot of businesses do when they go mobile, try to make use of that large pool of new consumers on the mobile phones. They make an app, they put it in the App Store, and they're going to go back. They just sit and wait. So they put up a couple of millions of dollars for people to download the apps, and they think now they're going to use it, and they don't. Actually, they are being burned down in the App Store by reviews, by customers, that the app sucks, excuse my language. So having an app is not a mobile strategy. You have to bring experience which people want on their mobile phones, and there are not a lot of companies which are able to do that, but there is a way. So just a mobile app is not enough. You have to take care of enough funding, you have to take care of capabilities, you have to take care of an organization. You bring in the first release of the app, and then you start learning. You get feedback in the App Store, which you don't get when you have a website, and you make it better, and you improve, and you improve, and you improve. That's a mobile-first organization, but a lot of organizations, they are mobile last. So who are the winners? Winners are the platforms right there. And a lot of those platforms, they have started as a startup, and they use mobile in the heart of the strategy. I keep on emphasizing mobile because mobile is one of those transformative technologies every company should be comfortable with. The problem is that there are so many. The web is the comfort zone, mobile is not the comfort zone. Mobile is the magic zone. But as normal human behavior is also for managers, is they want to stay in the comfort zone, so they invest all the money what they're good at. Those companies, they start from scratch. Most of the times when mobile technology just came up, a couple of years ago, and they took advantage. And they disrupt the big companies. Anyone doesn't know who Airbnb is? Anyone knows Uber, Netflix, right? Okay. So what's the difference of a traditional company, a Goliath, and the companies you just saw, which have adopted the platform structure? So it's one of the success factors, which is being a platform. It's quite complicated. I cannot go into details. If you want to know more, attend the masterclass tomorrow. I deep dive on every of these success factors, especially on this one, because it's so important. These guys disrupt every industry. So, very short, traditional companies have the pipe model, right? They're the pipelines. So, if you go to a car dealer these days, what they're going to tell you? It has great gas mileage, has the color, you actually fit, right? And they tried to sell me a car. I learned also this morning, also in Greece, you still get phone calls from insurance company trying to sell you insurance. They try to push you a product which you don't like, which you don't need. Platforms work different. If you went on holidays and you said, I met this amazing couple, John and Mary. They had this fantastic house. They had a great breakfast. The rooms were very clean. And I had a great experience. And they toured me around. They picked me up from the airport. And you're like, wow, that sounds good. Right? That's Airbnb. A hotel cannot do that. Again, I cannot go into details about platforms. It's a structure where producers and consumers, where they meet, where they create a sort of like online community, where there's a win-win. There is something in for the producers. So in Airbnb case, it's the accommodation owners, the hosts, and the consumers are the travelers, and they exchange data. And with that data, Airbnb has gone big, has gone global. Airbnb started out with 2 students in a small accommodation in the Bay Area in Silicon Valley, just because a lot of developers came over there. They needed accommodation, they didn't have money, and they provided airbeds. Right? And then they found another friend with an apartment, and they put 2 more airbeds, 4 airbeds for travelers. Then they made a spreadsheet, then they made a very simple online website to do your reservations, and it grew from there. You probably know the story about Uber. It's the same thing. And all these platforms, they do asset orchestration. They don't own anything, right? They just orchestrate a certain kind of assets, whether it's a taxi ride or it's accommodation abroad. So what kind of technologies those platform organizations, the startups, they use, the Davids they use to beat the Goliaths? Mobile I talked about. Social marketing, of course, social networks. Cloud, a new way of global production which allows businesses to contribute content, to connect applications, and it's a new infrastructure where even banks have a hard time to work with because they have a huge infrastructure which is not cloud-based, and they have a lot of this rejection the same way as I told you earlier when I went with a mobile application. All the startups, they work with clouds, and the fourth technology is chat. You're not calling your friend anymore, you send them a message. Right? So a lot of relationships, new relationships online, they're being made by these technologies. And if you want to go big in digital, if you want to be a platform organization, you have to understand how to work with these transformative technologies and build new relationships, new connections. Brings me to the mobile-enabled business model. Working with those transformative technologies, you can improve interactions. You build new relationships with a new type of customers. The new type of customers nowadays is the millennial. The millennial customers, they are very mobile savvy. They chat. They want everything on their mobile phone. They want to be able to do everything on their mobile phone. And preferably, they want to have a wow experience with new technology, digital technologies as well. So you can create, using new digital technologies, to create better client experience. And when you're building this, you engage people. Engagement is the new magic word, and that will generate sales. So instead of pushing a product, you create new digital experiences and you improve interactions to pull people in. You don't have to sell them. You engage them, you build a relationship online, and you're going to sell. So another success factor is solving problems. So every one of you probably, maybe once a month, maybe once a day, they have an idea. It's going to be a fantastic business. And then after 10 seconds, maybe I'm not going to make that money. Maybe I need to wait another year and maybe I need to make more money. Maybe I have to go for more learning. And your ego will in the way. Your ego doesn't want you to change. Right? So it doesn't want to make it to happen. How you can work though is by find something, a good idea. You have to make sure that it solves problems of people. If I go to a car dealer and he wants to sell me a car, he doesn't know if I have a problem. But platforms do know. And that's why they go to a platform, they listen to others, they have a peer-to-peer relationship, and they can share their problems. Oh, he has the same problem as me. What did he do? That's the key for to be successful if you have a new idea and if you want to make that big. So it's not really about that big idea. It's really about solving problems. And problems are rooted in people's emotions. It's about comfort, convenience, security, belonging. Those kind of emotions you have to try to relate to. Their problems exist with the new consumers, and that's what you need to try to solve. So Uber is a good example of what you can do in order to solve problems. So before, when Uber didn't exist, you had to hail a taxi, and you had to find a number, and then you had to call, and then you had to explain where you were, and Then hopefully the taxi arrives very soon. And then you need, after the taxi ride, you need to pay cash, credit card. So Uber was like, okay, I put everything in an app. And with that app, I can give a number. I already know what it's going to cost me. I can see which drivers are close, how long it's going to take before I have actually a taxi. It gives you estimate time of arrival. It takes you to your destination, and the app makes sure everything is being paid. And on top, you can leave a review about the driver, but the driver gives also a review about you. And reviews is the new currency in digital. It's very, very important. Same with Airbnb. You give a review about the host, but the host is also giving a review about you. Solving problems, that's one. The other one is purpose. Give your new company, your new business, a purpose. So Nike initially, they were a push organization, and they were selling running shoes. Nice design, a lot of dollars put into branding. And then they changed around. Then they start to be a digital company. In order to do that, they start to focus on their type of customers which they wanted to solve their problem, which were runners. And in the end, except of the shoes, they start working with Internet of Things, they start working with apps, with websites, and decided to make a purpose to make the world more active. So they weren't focused on the shoes, they were focused on engaging people, on a purpose which mattered to them, on their emotion. I want to belong, I want to know my performance. All those kind of emotions were triggered by that purpose. And that problems they were solving. Lego is another great example. 2004, they were about to go bankrupt. And they start to enter a new era of digital transformation. They start to digitalize. So their purpose was inventing the future of play. And I like very much the statement of the CEO back then, that he was, okay, I want the consumers to engage. I want to establish a dialogue, not between Lego and the customer, but between users and users. I want them to talk to each other. And then eventually they can talk to the brand and the company as well, and within all those feedback loops, you can learn as a company. And one of the best new products I like is Lego Boost. So what they do actually is they learn the very young generation to be comfortable with digital. It's very beautiful that you build a robot, and then with using an app on a tablet, actually they provide pieces of code. And the kids are being learned to connect those pieces of code to the robot, and the robot start moving, right? So it's an awesome journey they took in order to become digital, and they pull in the young consumers, but they also put in the old consumers, because there are a lot of people who like to play with Lego also in the future. I need to see my time because I don't have my, oh yeah, sorry. So in 2016, I was asked by Toys R Us, for those which don't know Toys R Us, you know Jumbo. It's a global toy store company selling toys, especially in North America. And they're selling toys, and they have also a baby label, Babies R Us, selling baby products. They asked me to join them and to renew, redesign, transform their mobile business. And I worked with a creative agency, and they didn't start right away to make a new app. The app was already in the App Store. Horrible experience, no one was buying. Actually, the same problem was also on the website. Horrible experience, very bad conversion. So they relied in the revenue still very much on the sales they had in the stores. So what we did for Babies R Us was actually to make a new purpose, Army to Best Parents. If you become a new parent, it's going to be a very scary experience. And you look in any way to get help. You want to go to a platform, or you want to go online to see what it means if the baby is 30 weeks old. So as a Babies R Us company, we try to create a platform to arm parents with the best there is and with advices to engage. And as soon as we were able to engage them, they would sell all the diapers and all the trolleys also from Babies R Us. And then later on, they will move into a customer of Toys R Us. Yeah. Let me go. So the purpose was very important to redefine that first before we start building anything on mobile. I tell you a little bit more how it ended, and it didn't end very well. So there are a couple of digital companies which are not really platforms, so Amazon is one. And one of the reasons is the purpose, right? They want to be the Earth's most customer-centric company. It doesn't really excite me, right? It's not something me as a customer, even as an employee, to well, I want to like really to be part of this this company. So what about this one? These guys actually were talking about mission. Don't talk about mission, talk about purpose. So I'm not going to ask you, because I know some people already know the answers from the masterclass. But this is the purpose of Wendy's, right? If I'm buying a burger of Wendy's, I think like, whoa, like, you know, they really like deliver a superior quality product, yeah, right? Through leadership, innovation, partnership. It doesn't make any connection with me as a customer. It doesn't make any connection with me as an employee. And that is very important to establish in the digital era. This is an example I think is very interesting also for a small business. So these are two car mechanics living in Toronto and decided to make a platform business. Basically, when you have a problem with your car, you need to go to the same sort of trouble as I mentioned with Uber, right? You need to call a dealer, you need to make an appointment, you need to go there, you lose a lot of time. And it's very frustrated because they say, oh, you have a problem with the engine, and then suddenly also like, you know, your brakes, they're not good, right? So your bill is like crazy. So these guys, they say like, okay, here's our website, tell me what's wrong with your car, click on there, and then right away, we're going to make an appointment, and guess what? You don't have to come to us, we come to you, right? So they come to work, they come to your house, and they fix the car. Prices, very competitive. I'm going to skip this one, just for the interest of time, because I'm going to come to this is Success Factor. This is a big Canadian retailer we work with. It's about creating better client experiences using transformative technologies. Here's an example, for instance, they had tested for live in Canada. What they did is they invited consumers to test their products, to make a video, and they put it online. So they were not saying that those products were good. No, other consumers were saying those products were good. Right? So the label tested was a peer-to-peer kind of marketing. And that really helped. The same way they work with Twitter. They have actually Twitter sessions, they call it Twitter parties, and you got this, and they teach you how to make a flat tire, or how to build a campfire. So very much related to the culture and the lifestyle of Canadians. And as you can see, all this, pictures, marketing, exposure, online, it's always all about experience, and you know it's about Canada lifestyle. So the experience is very important. What we did on the mobile side is we built a virtual reality app. So we use the virtual reality technology in order to create new experiences. You may know the IKEA app, where you actually can place furniture everywhere you want and see if it actually fits. We made the same sort of app where you can place furniture, umbrellas, barbecues, all their products they were retailing into a patio, and you were able to look back on a cool cardboard, how it would be in real life, and you could even hear the birds singing. So a very cool experience, augmented reality. They have a catalog, you hover over with your mobile app, and you have all kind of hotspots where you can find additional digital information, videos like the test that I mentioned, recipes, all kind of digital content to create new experiences, to engage people, to build new relationships, to use new digital technologies, to create more sales. So this is the example back to Toys R Us. So when I came in, they were about to finish a digital transformation to a new web platform, which was just the infrastructure. The infrastructure, you didn't notice anything on the front end. This was the website. It lasted 3 years, $100 million just to make a new web platform. And in those 3 years, they did nothing on the website. They said they did. This was before, this was after. Okay, very outdated experience. So we came in actually with the agency and with the new purpose. We were like, what do you think about this? Right? A new kind of design. Experience, experience, experience. This one, obviously, was a big wow factor for them, and they wanted to, but they just spent 100 million. Right? They couldn't change to this. So they couldn't change the new consumer-facing display, face-to-face to consumers. The same was with mobile. So a lot of funding for the new web platform, and they also established a new flag store in Madison Square Garden in New York. Fantastic experience. If you go inside, it's like a Luna Park. It's amazing. It's the comfort zone of Toys R Us. This is what they know well, opening stores. They announced this and the web platform that they were going digital. We have spent 100 million, 3 years on a new web platform. We built a new flag store. They said it, they announced this in USA Today in May 2017, and in June the same CEO had to fire for bankruptcy. Why? Because they didn't transform themselves digitally. They stayed within their comfort zone, which is opening stores and which is creating new web platforms, web infrastructures. So a very important one for Goliaths and from a marketing perspective and digital marketing, what you see is a lot of marketing teams they still use the old 4 Ps as a marketing mix. Some of you don't know the 4 Ps of marketing, it's place, price, promotion, and product. The 4 new Ps, in order to work with transformative technologies, to create that layer of value and exchange value, to build relationships, to create more interactions, you work with communities, you make sure people can share content, you facilitate conversations, and you make sure people can collaborate. So this is all to make relationships. Community is very important. Not sure if I have the slide. Yes. So first place is home. Second place is work. Third place is community. You know it very well. The Cafe Neon in Greece. But you also know where the youngsters come, right? It's at Starbucks. And they're all digital, right? So community is very important. So are the other ones. So you need to understand to work with these 4 Cs and social networks, content on social networks, building communities on your platform, make sure there are conversations possible. On Airbnb, hosts can talk with guests, guests can talk with hosts. They can collaborate on the platforms, and that will generate more sales. Remember the mobile-enabled business model. So once you master these 4 Cs, you're in business digitally. So the main difference about traditional marketing and digital marketing is traditional marketing use the 4 Ps to push, to sell you something. Startups, platform organizations, the big ones, they all started, they were pulling in people. They didn't sell them anything. They just gave them a very good reason to come to them to solve their problems. People were identifying with the purpose. There was a very important peer-to-peer kind of feedback. There was collaboration, and it was able to pull people in. So that's the big difference from a marketing perspective. So to start finalizing my presentation, I think in the small notes which are in your bags, I have 2 suggestions for books. The one is Platform Revolutions, which explains you everything about platforms, how they work, and how to be successful building a platform. The second one is this, and I mentioned this one. You probably can buy it on Amazon, because it's very interesting if you have a good idea, if you think you can solve problems. Not necessarily you have to go mobile, you have to make a mobile app. But in here, it gives you all kind of online tools to make that business idea happening, to start right away to bring it into action, to stop your ego from like, no, don't do it, you cannot do it. Those guys, they take you on a journey. I did it myself. I established my Digital Masters Academy as a startup using this book. I started a year ago. In 1 month, I established the business. This is a little bit for everyone, big or small, but you see it a lot with the big companies I work with the senior management I work with. The Toys R Us example I mentioned, they operate from their comfort zone. They open big stores, they spend 100 million on the web, and for the mobile, we got peanuts. And it's so important because mobile is sitting here. Here's where the magic happens. Here's where the new digital technologies they're sitting. Here's where blockchain is sitting for the banks. There's the magic zone. So I work currently with ING on digital innovations, and we all work there. They reorganized the whole bank. They knew they broke the social contract. Everywhere in the world, banks broke the social contract with consumers, and they have to gain new trust, new cooperation for the business. Their answer, blockchain. Okay? It provides a new way of trust, and actually the banks, they are not involved. Right? But they are there, they're learning. So try to move out of your comfort zone. Greek businesses, family business, you look up. It might be your father, it might be your father-in-law, who says like digital now. Right? Look at me, like 40 years I established this business. Forget mobile. Same thing happens in the big organizations. Toys R Us, again, example. Mobile, yeah, okay. We're gonna renew it, but all our money we put in a big new store in New York. That's what they knew well. They stayed in their comfort zone. They forgot about the magic zone. Too risky. What happened? They were disrupted. They went bankrupt. So this is for everyone in a startup. If you want to be a David and you have a father or a father-in-law, don't look up. Look outside. Think outside in. Don't think inside out. Inside out is traditional. Outside in is for the Davids of this world. If you look inside, you see danger. Right? If you look outside, horizontally, you see more nice new worlds. So I'm going to skip this one. So if you start a new business, build a fleet, but don't build a Titanic. If you have a boat, don't make a big boat and say they cannot sink, because they're going to sink, right? So it's better to make a fleet of boats. And all of those projects, all of those new digital experiments which you may bring into force, they may fail, 95%. But 5% they remain, and they can grow to a new business if you follow a certain kind of pattern, if you believe in platform models, if you give it a good purpose, if you really solve people's problems. All those things I've discussed before. There will be a couple of experiments which grow out to a new business. Use that book which I mentioned and growth hack your small diamonds into a huge pot of gold. So this is how you can do it. It's also in the notes. How you can be a digital master. It's basically what I've meant now in half an hour. I'm deep diving this in the masterclass. Masterclass, I'm used to give it to senior managers, helping them to become digital masters. So that's how I constructed the road to digital mastership, and to become from a digital conservative company into a digital master company. So just read it through. Most of you now you're familiar with, because I went through them through the 10 success factors. So I want to finish this line with a great statement of a local hero, Alexander the Great. In order to go digital, in order to be a David, you need to have a lot of courage. You don't need to learn a lot, you need to unlearn a lot. Right? You need to be able to go out of your comfort zone, go to the magic zone, and then you're going to see that everything is attainable. Thank you very much.